by Zaxby's.
School Patrol with David Carroll, only on Local 3 News.
So we're going to talk this morning to someone who's been a friend of ours for a long time on this show. I guess ever since we began now almost 11 years ago. And if you are native to Chattanooga, especially if you are native to North Georgia, Fort Oglethorpe specifically, easy for me to say, give a big round of applause because you know him well. Our good friend James Rogers is back in town.
Thank you so
good
much.
To see
Thank you. It's great to be with you again.
I have not seen you in a while, and David Carroll sent me a text. I know you and he keep in touch.
David is a good friend as well, and a lifelong friend, actually, seems like, since back in the 70s when I first met David.
So he's out there. He's become quite the author.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess you're following in your friend's footsteps, but I cannot wait for folks to hear about your book, James, because when you talk about it, you just beam. You are so excited about this effort.
I really am. It really am. Julie, it's like I try to tell everyone. I know that I am not amazing. But I've had a lot of people that have enjoyed that song, Fly Eagle Fly. You know, it was adopted as our Bicentennial Song in the state of Tennessee. It took me to Washington, D.C. singing that song. So many wonderful things have happened with me concerning that song. I'm not amazing, but when you hear the story and of the song, how it was written, the people then that in their lives they have just took it in themselves and lived with the words of that song. It's inspired them, and some of the wonderful things that have happened. It truly is. It truly is the story of the song is what is amazing.
Well, I had done a poor job in setting up the story because I kind of began in the middle. So for the people who are not familiar with you, James, you have been living a dream life for 50 years in the business.
Yes, 50 years this year on June the 18th. It will be 50 years, and I have been so blessed to have been able to do what I do. I remember when I first started in 1972 at the Light Fantastic Lounge on Brainerd Road. I thought I was going to be there for 2 weeks, and then it was back to carrying sheetrock and shingles up on the roof as I was working my way through college.
Yeah.
And still in the National Guard at the time. And I thought that was going to be it, and then it continued to go, and then a few months later I'm at the Chattanooga Choo Choo, and then it really launched from there. Of course, a lot of people still remember, they think, oh, you were a singing waiter, and that was a wonderful thing, singing waiters and wait. But at the time I was there, it wasn't that. They were bringing in people from all over the country.
For scouts.
To be their performers there. So.
Kind of bring us up. So your path crossed Dolly Parton's, did it not?
Yes. In 1983, I like to say I was in the National Mountain Music Festival, Search for Talent, and I would refer to it as the Hillbilly American Idol, and from that time, and I won, and that started me with a relationship with Silver Dollar City, and then everyone knows the story about how Silver Dollar City then became Dollywood, and that's when I met Dolly, and we were doing promotional. I was involved in all the shows at Dollywood, and I met Dolly, and we sang together, and did all kind, and have then for 30 years. She's still a friend.
I think that's what's going to be so interesting as you read the book, because what it's called is the story of a song, and it's when you wrote that, it's just one time in your life, but I'm sure you've drawn on it all of these years because you're a dad, you're a grandfather, you're a proud patriot, and that's what your story embodies.
And that's what it's all about. That's what that story tries to tell. And it also is very involved in how the song, which I wanted to do something to try to help save the eagle because it was endangered species. So
you actually had a moment where you saw an eagle fly and the moment hit you, right?
Yes, it hit me. The inspiration was there, of course.
Where were you, by the way?
I was on the Ocklawaha River in Florida, in the swamp, when I saw that eagle, and I was with two fellows. One was Ed Henderson, the other was a Native American fellow who was a guide named Fred Oakleaf. And Fred was telling me about how the eagle was going to go extinct, like the passenger pigeon. Now remember this is 1973. And And I thought, wasn't it ironic that it's such a time for our country, our national, which Vietnam War, Watergate, rioting, all kinds of stuff.
Turbulent times.
Turbulent time at that time. Wasn't it ironic that our symbol, our living symbol of freedom, the bald eagle, was on the endangered species list? So I came up with the line today, I saw an eagle flying, its colors were red and white and blue. And, and then that's just, and today it looked like he was crying, where are all the friends he once knew? So
when you mentioned how it became the Bicentennial Song for Tennessee, how did that happen?
That's amazing. I have to invoke the name of another friend of yours and mine, very good friend of mine, Dennis Haskins.
Oh, okay.
Dennis was at that time just a student at UTC, and he worked on the entertainment committee. And I'll try to condense this real quick. Well, one night after one of my shows at the Choo Choo, he was talking to me. He said, I wonder if UTC maybe would like to use your song next year as their bicentennial song. Flag O Fly, it could be a really good bicentennial song. And we're at the Yellow Deli.
Oh, yeah?
At 3 in the morning. And I said,
well, you were young.
Yes, I was very young, still in school. Finishing my senior year, and working and playing, and Dennis, and he said, "What? Maybe they might want it as a bicentennial song." And I said, "Well, Dennis, I didn't even know they were looking for a bicentennial song." Dennis says, "Maybe they didn't know either."
Yeah, right.
That was Dennis,
and that's how it all started.
It started with Dennis talking about it at UTC, and it did become UTC's bicentennial song. Then the city of Chattanooga's bicentennial song,
and then
Fort Oglethorpe's bicentennial, Rossville's, all in that we're adopting it in proclamations. The next thing I knew, because I had already sung it for Governor Winfield Dunn at a special performance for him with Minnie Pearl and Johnny Mann singers. And when I went over there, and Ray Albright, Representative Davis, all made the resolution proclamation, and I was told that it was the only thing that passed legislation that year that had all green lights. Everybody was green light on making it the bicentennial.
I want to make sure I'll point out a few things, and then I have a couple of other questions while I've still got you in your seat. You're having a book signing this upcoming Saturday from 1 to 3.
From 1 to 3.
In Fort O at the Park Place Restaurant. But you want people to think ahead too to June, because you're going to be doing a free concert.
Right. I didn't bring that up yet, but I'm happy to tell everybody it's out there that I'm doing a free show to celebrate my 50th year in entertainment. I mean, what better way than to be just surrounded with friends and people that like you on a day. And there was no way that I felt like I could charge to invite people to come to help me celebrate. But I am going to invite some of my favorite charities that I've worked with through years, and they'll be there, and people can make a donation if they want to. But it's all their free spirit to do that. And that's the way I want to celebrate my 50th year from when I started. And how can you say thank you so much? I mean, they gave me a life and a career. The fans gave me a life and a career that I would never have had any other way.
So I do want to ask you, so here you've been talking about the 20-something-year-old you eating at the Yellow Deli, which if you understand,
I could stay up all night in those days, no problem.
And now, so you couldn't possibly have envisioned then, none of us can, what was going to happen. But in your book at the beginning, you reference your grandchildren and that the story will be theirs, your musical career will be theirs to share and tell. Is the profound nature of this, James, that you were just a man doing what you were called to do? Do you find power in that each of us can do what we're called to do? That
is what I hope people will gain from the book most of all, that they will be inspired, because we are every day, God in our lives, you do inspire somebody every single day, whether it's for good or bad. It's going to be up to you. And do your best to try to eyes are watching you all the time. So make sure that what those eyes see is something worth seeing. So something you would be proud of.
Do you have experiences? Do you try to force an experience even? where you make sure on occasion you have a chance to see a bald eagle fly?
Oh yes.
And what does it do to you?
It's still amazing. And you know, and even as I was finishing the book, and I remember I wrote it in here, that I was actually driving 27 highway. I live in Rock Spring, Georgia. I crossed there at 27, coming out of Chickamauga, going toward Rock Spring. I looked up and I couldn't believe what I saw. A bald eagle flew right across the car right there, and I said, how wonderful that was, because how many years ago did we think the eagle was going to be extinct? And of course I go into all of that as well with all my work with the American Eagle Foundation. I'm still on the board of directors there.
And you know what, I think that's a relevant message to give to anybody watching who might be a younger person in their 20s this morning, that it's hard for them to understand that it really was a national concern.
Yes.
At that time. So whatever the national concern is today, that's your time to inherit this planet, one person can make a difference.
And that was the thing, is I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't amazing, but somehow the song that God gave me, I feel, to sing, it inspired a lot of these people, the people that were out there that were their handlers, the people that were trying to help do the eagle recovery, the people that were in nature, that were out there in the trenches, as I like to speak.
We grow good people in this neck of the woods, don't we, James Rogers?
I think so. I don't think there's a better place to be.
I am so glad to see you. COVID gave us a good turn then, if this gave you a chance to write the book.
Gave me time to sit and think.
So it's this Saturday 1 to 3 at the Park Place Restaurant, and then do go ahead and mark your calendars for the 18th of June for this free concert at the Colonnade, and you'll have a book signing around that time again too?
Yes, I will, at the Colonnade just a couple of days prior to that, but I encourage people, if they really do think they want to go, you know, the tickets at the Colonnade, you know, they are assigned seats, so they need to call and we'll go ahead and make their reservation. I saw the number was up there.
I saw you come in with your guitar. Would I impose upon you if you sang a little before you go?
I'd be happy to.
All right, then I'll be quiet and let James sing us a bar or two of Fly, Eagle, Fly. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Today I saw an eagle flying with colors of red and white and blue. Today, did it look like he was crying and wondering where are all the friends he once knew? Today I heard the eagle calling, and it echoed from the mountains to the sea.
Did you notice your energy bill climbing over the winter months? Well, if you did, it might be time to replace some of those windows. And today we're going to see how America's most admired home remodeling brand, West Shore